Good evening, folks. My name is Mark Anderson, and I'm on Instagram handle of Mark Anderson 1590. And this evening, I'm just going to be doing a quick tutorial on how to build a double assist hook setup from the basic components on up. I've had a number of requests from people for the instructions on this, and I'm just going to show you the way I do it. There's many different techniques and probably more kosher ways of doing it, but this has worked well for me over the years. And so I'll start out with the components, basic components. Right here is your vise, your basic fly tying vise. They range from $20 to $1,000 or more. So I started out with the real cheap ones and very quickly learned that they fail you and you need them most. And you end up just having to buy vise after vise. I finally settled for more medium as a line. It's about $150. It's a Dynaking. Most of your major brands, they have the full line. They go from cheap to expensive. So it really doesn't, I don't think it matters that much what brand you use. But the $150 Dynakings serve me very well. They have the ones that are on pedestals. That tends to be the one that most real serious people use. I happen to get a clamp on. You can see it's clamped under the table here. And it served me well over the years. It comes loose ever so often, which can be a pain, but for the most part, I haven't had any problems with it. As far as the components go, first of all, starting off with the hooks, you can use a real cheap Chinese steel hook. You know, like you can get like 100 hooks for $10, but they're not as sharp and they're very heavy. And the one advantage that an assist hook setup has is that it's light and has a lot of action, because the actual action of the assist hook is what attracts the fish. You can put it on whatever jig you want. It's not the jig itself that's attracting the fish, it's the action of the assist setup. So you use steel, your action's going to decrease significantly. They have a lot of other composite with tin and stuff that's a lot lighter. It's also very strong and sharp, chemically sharpened. The one brand that I've kind of settled on because it's easy to get a hold of and is very light and very sharp is the Decoy Pike. And I use a 3/0 most of the time. You can use a 2/0. Tends to, if you get a real heavy fish though, it will straighten on you. The 3/0 does not straighten and is still very light and very sharp. So this is my go-to for most of the assists that I make. Next we have the Braid, or the cord, assist cord. And contrary to what most people think, it's not just it's not just a single cord, but rather a hollow braid with a fluorocarbon core going through the center of it. This gives it extra bounce. It's stiffer, extra bounce, and again, extra action. There's various products. You can get a product like this that has like a nylon core that you can pull the core out and put your own fluorocarbon in. And that works, I've used it, but there's that extra process of stringing the fluorocarbon through the center of it. One product that I have found that has worked for me very well over the years is by Kesta Professional Parts. This product has the fluorocarbon core already going through the center of it. So there's no need to pull out the nylon core and add your own fluorocarbon. It already has it. It is pink, but at the depths that you use assist hooks at, that's not even something that a fish really sees. Again, this product can be found on eBay, as all of these products that I'm showing you, and some of them can be found on Amazon as well, but eBay has all of them. So these are all readily available. When it comes to assist hook supplies, it's difficult to find them. So you're kind of limited to what is available on eBay, or if you go directly to, for instance, Japan, go directly to the manufacturer, but then you're paying big postage fees. Next, we have the bobbin. All that's needed is a simple run-of-the-mill fly tying bobbin. You have a big range. They go from $10 all the way up to $250 for some of the more expensive Chinese products. So this particular one, it probably costs $30. It does have a tension on it, which you don't need. I tend not to use a tension at all. I leave it in full spool and use my pinky as the tension. So as that spool is spinning, depending on how much I apply pressure, that's my tension. So I don't know if this is kosher, but it's what's worked for me. So that's what I do. Next, you actually have the thread, tie flying thread. For the assist hook setups that I use, I tend to use a bulkier thread, like a 3/0, what they typically use for muskie or pike. And it's a 210 denier or a 3/0. And that's my go-to. Of course, when you go for finer top flies, you're going for much smaller thread sizes. So because of the amount of material I like to add, very similar to a pike or a muskie, it happens to be what lings also like, I go for the 3/0 or the 210 denier. They come in all different brands. This particular one is Danville, but you can go for, there's a whole bunch of other different brands. So, and again, if you just go for that thread size, you're best off for this type of fishing. Next, you have all sorts of different types of materials. Right here is peacock feathers, very strong, very durable. Again, when you're dealing with rock fishing or fish at any depth, you want something strong, because as it's going up and down the water column, it's easy to break them off. So the peacock is very durable. We also, another durable one is the chest feathers of a rooster. They have a lot of good action, a lot of fine feathers at the beginning, and these tend to be really strong. I don't have them break off much at all. And of course, flash bob products. There's 1,000,001 different colors that you can use. Very easy to use. I'll show you how I build them into the assist hook, and very cheap. You've also got animal hairs, which are durable and have a great action. This is elk hair from an elk tail, and it tends to be very strong. It's what's used in a lot of different lure types, just because of its durability and action in the water. You can also get fancy. There's 1,000,001 different ways you can go with this. Sky's the limit. Moving on from there, you need a pair of scissors, sharp scissors, of course, to cut everything you need to cut. When you're getting ready, when you're finally tied the whole thing, and at various stages along the way, you need a lighter. Not the type of lighter that shoots fire out, but has a nice gentle curl upward. And that's what you're going to use to clean the loose threads off and make your binding very sleek and pleasant to look at. Finally, you're going to cover the whole thing with a resin. I use Loon Outdoor, and this particular brand, it's a UV clear finish, and it's thin. And what this UV light stuff does is when you apply it, you apply the UV light, which is just black light, and it immediately cures it. So you're not waiting around for this stuff to dry. You can get thin or thick. I prefer the thin just because more thin layers make for a clearer coat. If you do it really thick, it doesn't cure all at the same time and can be cloudy at times. So I use the thin. All right, I think we're ready now to start building one of these things. All right, so let's put our hook in the vise. You don't want it pointed up because that makes working with it very difficult. You want it pointed down just a little bit, just like that. Next, you're going to take your pre-cut cord. This is that Kesta Professional braid with the fluorocarbon going through the center of it. And you want to line it up on top of the hook, just like that, right before where it dips down to the tab. Next, you're going to take your line. You're going to pinch the line right there to hold it in place. Then you're going to wind it around like so. Make sure your tab is right on the edge and work your way down to the tab. You're going to go all the way down into the groove. You're going to build that groove up until you have enough thread in it to then start working your way up onto the braid. And then you continue on your way. I typically continue until it starts going downhill on the angle, like right there. That's where I stop. I back up a little bit, let it hang. When you let it hang, it keeps the tension on it. You don't have to worry about it till you're ready for the next step. Next, I go ahead and I remove this little tab because it'll get in your way later on. Just cut that baby off right there. Then you're going to do a half hitch underneath. So you're going to go underneath the hook. Call that a half hitch. You're going to pull it tight and pull it all the way on the other side of the hook. Your finished product, the braid is always supposed to be on the underside here or on the side that the curve of the hook is. Not up here, underneath here. So you start off up here, and you're going to end up underneath. You hold it in place, you work your way all the way to the tab again. At this point, you start reinforcing the tab, again build up, and then start working your way up the shaft of the hook. You don't have to have it perfectly tight at this point. You're just working up the shaft to where the knot is. Go right up to the knot. Make sure the thread's right up to the edge. Now I broke off there. That's no problem. You just take this piece, hold that there, push it on with your thumb, and put it back on again. You can do that as many times as you want. I haven't had it decrease the strength, at least from my usage. I haven't had it decrease the strength of the assist hook at all. You want to be sure this part right here is really beefy, because in a second I'm going to show you how we're going to pull the braid taut on both sides after we build the other side, and you don't want that slipping around to the top of the hook again. So really make that beefy, nice and strong. Work your way up again to the top. Again, I broke it, that's no problem. I just had a little too much tension on it. Just hold it right there. There you go again. continue until you have full coverage of the shaft so you don't see any pink showing through there. There you go. And I kind of do it till it's uniform. I don't have any little crevices anywhere, and it kind of looks uniform and smooth. Just like so. All right, that looks pretty good. So now we're ready to tie it off. And what I do is I make sure I have a length like that. Snip, snip right there. And then I take these two fingers here. I go underneath, over the top, and I come through that loop. Then I put my finger on top of that so it doesn't slip off the hook, and I pull it taut. Then I give it a little push downward. Not hard enough to break it, but enough to cinch it tight. Then I do it again. These are called half hitch knots. I keep doing that. I tend to do it about 10 times. Different people do different amounts. To me, 10 tends to work out really well. There's no really real rule of thumb here. Five will work good too, but I just like to do 10 for extra measure. There we go. Cut off the tag end like so. And then where we had all these break-offs and our restarts, I cut off all those tag ends. Just like that. Now, you can kind of see how it's fuzzy here. You have little strings. This is where the fire comes in. So here we go. And you'll see how it cleans all of that up. It almost gets shiny. And I just kind of press it like that. So we haven't even added any bonding material to it, and it's kind of like all melted together. Just like that. Then, so we're done with that part. All right, now we're doing the other side. You can see I already have the second hook in place. We're going to do the exact same thing that we did with the first one. We're going to line that braid right on top, on the top part of the shaft. We're going to pinch that line, twirl around a few times, make sure that braid is right on the edge. Then work our way down the shaft like so, until we get to that groove. We're going to go down into the groove, we're going to build that up, and then walk our way up the braid like so. If it's crooked, you can kind of straighten it there. Work your way all the way up. Again, you're going to do it as it starts to go down, just like so. Make sure you've got plenty of coverage there. And I'm going to stop right before the end there. Got a tag piece I'm going to clip off. And now we're going to do the same thing. We're going to do a half hitch knot. So with this hook, you're going to go under the one in the vise, under, through the loop. So we have a half hitch knot there. This time though, you're not going to pull it tight. You're going to leave that loop up like that, because that's where we're going to put our fly material. I've got some flash bar material here. It always comes with a zip tie in the middle of it, like so. I tend to leave that zip tie in place, find a few strands down here, and just pull it through. And then I divide it in half, like this, and divide it in half again, like that. So now I have this material looped like so. Next, I'm going to cut those loops so that everything's straight. And then depending on how long I want this material, I'm going to cut it across. Just like that. So in this case, it's like this. I've got it pinched between my thumb and my pointer finger. Next, I'm going to add some rooster feathers. Right here's my rooster feathers, and I'm going to pinch it between the same fingers, just like that, up against the flash bar. Just like that. Next, I'm going to throw in some ostrich herl. This is ostrich herl that's been dyed red. And I'm going to pinch it between those same fingers. Just like so. So that's kind of what it looks like there. And of course you can do whatever. I'm also going to add my peacock feathers. Like so, and pinch those between the same two fingers. So now I have all this material between my fingers. You can add whatever you want. Next, I'm going to feed it through this loop right here, just like that. And I'm going to pull that lasso tight, like so. Next, while I'm holding this tight so it doesn't come apart, I'm going to clip the top part of this kind of at an angle. And the reason for that is I want it kind of tapered from here going up to the knot, because when I wind it, it's going to look better. Next, I'm going to hold this knot in place, pull this line underneath, and hold it just like that. And again, we're going to go around, build up that groove, work our way up the braid, like so. And I'm going to go all the way up to the knot. And then I'm going to tie within the groove of that knot all that material together. Work my way up the shaft, or down the shaft, I guess as it may be. And now all that material is totally secured within the thread of the jig. You can see here. So I worked all the way up to that first loop of the knot. And now I'm working over all the material, all the way down. Just like so. Again, when you come to the tab, you want this area right here, to be very beefy. Because when we pull everything taut, we don't want it slipping around to the other side, which it will do if it's not beefy enough. So I just make sure that's really beefy, just like so. And then work my way up and just keep adding material till I don't see any more braid. Just like so, and that it's aesthetically pleasing. Just like so. Now this seems like a really long process, but it actually goes a lot faster once you get the knack of it. I mean, you can move like lightning speed. So it probably takes, I would say, 15 minutes for every double assist, ultimately. So, and that looks pretty good. Next, we're going to tie it off again. So, I'm going to clip it off right about there, and we're going to do our tie. And 10. Going to clip off this loose material here and this extra tag end where I'd had one break off and restarted it. There we go. So now we're going to clean it up again like we did the first one. The most important thing to remember is you want to protect all this material with these fingers. If that flame even gets close, it'll just singe them and curl them right off. So you want to protect that from the heat and then clean up all of these threads here. Just like that. So, and there we have our rough double assist. Now moving on to the final step. All right, now we're going to attach the double assist to a split ring, or a solid ring, solid ring. And the solid ring, of course, on the double assist will attach to a split ring on your jig. So to do this, we take our roughly made double assist and we're going to have to, that's not enough room to put onto the split ring. So we have these tools right here. It's just a wooden knob with a hook attached to it. The hook is screwed in to the wooden knob. And these are what we're going to use to actually pull taut our assists. So with one, you're going to put in the loop of the braid. With the other, you're going to put it through both assists like so. And then you're going to pull it like that. And that'll cinch everything up. So it pulls the braid up in both sides and makes this really tight, of course, because it's cramming all those threads together. And then we're going to take this like this. So we have a loop, so you can see better. So we have a loop there. We take the solid ring, we put the loop through the solid ring. Then we bring the solid ring through the loop again, like that. So it pulls like that. We're going to once again do this. This time, because the loop is too small, I'm going to take a screwdriver, put it through there, hold it there. I'm going to take one of my knob hooks, like so. I'm going to go like this, and that just kind of tightens the knot. So there we go. There's your basic assist. Now, once again, I'm going to protect the fly tying, this material here. And I'm going to do another cleanup, because every time you work with it, you have little loose fibers that come out. I'm just going to do this, clean it up a little bit. All right, now we are ready to apply the lacquer. So I'm going to take now my UV clear fly finish, once again, by Loon. And I'm going to apply it evenly to the threads on both sides. And go to the other side, do the same thing. So some people only do one coat. I like to do, since I've already put time into this thing, I like to do multiple coats because it makes it look really, really nice. And then in between coats, you apply that magical UV light to the resin, like so, and it instantly cures it. And right away, you're ready to add the next coat. Just like so. I do about 5 coats. That's how fast it is. You can use the other stuff, but it's going to take you forever. And this also allows you to do thinner coats, which ultimately means better curing and clearer finish. And that's how fast. This stuff cures really fast. And there you go, folks. Finished product from beginning to end. Very strong. And really the sky's the limit as far as what type of materials you could put in. You can really personalize them. And I hope you enjoy this tutorial, and Start using these assist hooks. They make a big difference. All right, we'll see you later. Bye.